commercial and residential, and they're always there to offer solutions, not excuses. Not only that, but GMH Builders are dedicated members of our own North Bay community. They're deeply committed to giving back and helping others. I would never start a project before calling GMH Builders first. Visit GMH Builders' website at gmhbuild.com. That's www.gmhbuild.com. You'll be glad you did. For Sean's original Japanese barbecue sauce and the Sonoma Stompers have teamed up to bring Sean's authentic Japanese flavors right here. The Arnold Fever. Sean's original Japanese barbecue sauce was born from founder Justin Gill's multi-generational family recipe that was passed on down to him by his Michon. Now, that family recipe has inspired the bold, French umami flavor and clean ingredients in all of Michon's sauces, including their Divino Japanese dipping sauces. Find Michon's sauces at your local retail store today. Michon.
One more time from Arnold Field in Sonoma, California. It's the San Luis Obispo Blues and the Sonoma Stompers for Game 2 of CCL North play from Northern California. Hello, everyone, and welcome inside the broadcast booth again. My name is Nate Mills on the call tonight on the Slow Boost Streaming Network, and this is the Ancient Owl pregame show. Get you set for the 1-0 Sonoma Stompers and the 0-1 San Luis Obispo Blues. Here's how it went down yesterday for the Blues. The story of last night was the offense striking out consistently to the tune of 16 Ks from this San Luis Obispo team. They haven't even come close to reaching that number in non-conference play. Yesterday, they had trouble seeing the baseball, and the offensive approach wasn't quite there as it had been in the past few games they had played in non-conference, and it really showed in yesterday's game against the Stompers, in which the starter for Sonoma really just dug through the players. Jaden Harper went 3 innings and hurled 5 Ks, but then the real damage came from Ryan Seo, who just slammed the door on San Luis Obispo. 3 innings of work there, allowing just 1 earned run off the bat of Brendan Comerford. but how about 7 strikeouts in those 3 innings pitched from Ryan Sale? He was nasty, and luckily for the Blues, they won't be seeing him tonight because he got a high pitch count in those 3 innings of work. Well, really, most of the damage from that game came in the first 2 innings. Cooper Bagby made the start for San Luis Obispo, and his night went not exactly according to plan. Bagby led up in 1 inning pitched, 5 earned runs, only 3 of them earned, 2 walks and a strikeout. Really, for him, it wasn't about the command and walking guys. It was a couple of hit by pitches and 3 errors from the Blues defense that scarred San Luis Obispo, and it was over before it started, really, within those first 2 innings. So they had to work from behind from a 6-run deficit after Brendan Comerford cashed in the only Blues run on that RBI single. Really, pitching on both sides shut out both offenses, respectively. It was for San Luis Obispo, Omar Reynoso and Spencer Gillimore slamming the door on the Stompers. Both of those arms looked really nice against Sonoma yesterday. I want to look at Sean Gillimore, though. 3 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, and 4 strikeouts. Omar was good, too. 4 innings of work, 2 strikeouts and a walk. He induced a lot more soft contact. But it's a lot more flashy to watch Spencer Gillimore hurl those strikeouts over the plate with his higher velocity and his better breaking pitches against these hitters. That's how he induced more of those strikeouts. So, San Luis Obispo, tonight, what's the game plan? Well, do anything but strike out, because that was the biggest issue with them last night, and also clean it up on defense. That defense for Dean Trainer's Blues has been the most problematic part of this team in this young season. 3 of the last 4 games they've played, the Blues have committed 3 errors. That cannot happen if you're trying to win baseball games in the CCL North. Teams are going to take advantage of that, and the Sonoma Stompers certainly did. Brendan Comerford, who kind of had a rough day at first base and committed 2 of those errors, will get the night off tonight, and it's Zach Tollerman over at first base now. And Gavin Smith will be DHing, where Comerford usually plays when he's not playing first base or third, with Constantine over at third base. So the Blues on offense got to come with a better approach at the dish. It seemed like there was a lot of guessing, or they just weren't ready for the offerings from Seo, who was disgusting, first of all, with those sliders and the fastballs. But again, they just kind of seemed on their heels the entire night. Hunt the fastball, get the timing correct, and I talked with hitting coach Rene Regalado. The timing wasn't starting for the Blues until the pitch was coming out of the hands. The hitting coach Regalado wants to see the Blues start to get in their hitting motion once the separation comes from the glove. So a couple hitting adjustments needed for the Blues. There's a new look lineup, and we'll get into that a little bit more. But for now, that's all we got here from the Ancient Owl pregame show on the SLO Blues Streaming Network. A huge thank you to Ancient Owls contributing to this San Luis Obispo Blues season, and for hosting the Ancient Owl Watch Party. Hello, everyone at the brewery who is watching that right now. We'll send it back to the field, and we'll be right back after this on the SLO Blues Streaming Network.
Starting lineup for the San Luis Obispo Blues. Leading off in center field, number 50, E.J. Boyd. Batting second and playing second, number 12, Eli Henderson. In right field, batting first, number 18, Donovan Jordan. Batting cleanup, playing left field, number 51, Mason Ashlock. At first base, batting the 5 spot, number 22, Zach Tallerman. Designated hitter for the Blues, batting 6, number 10, Gavin Smith. Behind the plate and batting 7th, number 37, Brody Miller. At shortstop, batting 8th, number 7, Diego Maria. And batting 9th, third baseman, number 9, today's clear batter, Gavin Constantine. Starting at pitcher for the Blues, number 41, Scott Bonding. Hello, Sonoma. How's everybody doing today? We got some Blues fans here today. Yeah. All right. Thanks for coming. I know we've got to have more. How about Stompers fans in the house? Outstanding. Hey, I want to remind everybody that Jacob's Restaurant right over here has got the best food in the CCL. Go over there and check it out. Wood-fired pizzas, fish and chips, Bashon's barbecue sauce on pulled pork sandwiches. It's fantastic. You're going to like everything you get over there. Now over here we've got beer, wine, and we've also got souvenirs. I'd like Nikki to come forward. Nikki, come on over. This is intern Nikki, and she's wearing a Stompers jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, this Stompers jersey is for sale in the souvenir shack right over there. They also have lots of other souvenirs that you can buy, shirts, hats, jerseys. So sometime during a game, go over there, check it out. I'm sure you'll find something you like. Thank you very much, Nikki. All right. Let's meet the starting lineup for your Sonoma Stompers. Leading off from Bellarmine University, center fielder Brandon Akers. Batting second from Los Medanos, designated hitter number 1, Hirion Hahn. From Santa Rosa Junior College, batting the 3 spot, left fielder number 6, Nick Sebastiani. Batting cleanup for the Stompers from Louisiana Tech. Say hello to second baseman number 49, Nican Libby. From Los Medanos, batting 5th, third baseman number 29, Charlie Moulton. From CSU Northridge, batting in the 6th spot, shortstop number 3, Colton Boardman. Batting 7th from Youngstown State, right fielder number 37, Brady Shannon. Brady's making his Arnold Field debut today. Batting 8th from Pepperdine, he's behind the plate, number 46, Esteban Sepulveda. And batting 9th from Monterey Peninsula, first baseman number 45, Paul Lejoule. Starting in pitcher for the Stompers from Grand Canyon University, number 18, Devin LaQuinto. Our Stompers lineup was brought to us by Sotheby's International Realty. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time will you please rise while we honor America with the singing of our national anthem.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, their lungs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, and God bless America.
Go, go. You, Eli. Why not you? Why not us? Super fan already. Go.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time.
Ready to rock here from Arnold Field in Sonoma, California. The second CCL North game being played this summer. As a matter of fact, the second CCL game being played in the entire league. Yesterday, the San Luis Obispo Blues and the Sonoma Stompers were the only two CCL teams in action, and the same will be true today with only one other game occurring. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for your San Luis Obispo Blues. Leading it off for the Blues, it's the center fielder E.J. Royal. Eli Henderson is the second baseman, batting second, the only left-handed bat in today's lineup. Don Jordan plays right field and he'll bat third. Mason Ashlock back and left, he'll clean it up in the fourth spot. Zach Tullerman over at first base, batting fifth, with Gavin Smith DHing and batting sixth. Brody Miller catches and bats seventh. Diego Murillo is the shortstop, batting eighth. And Gavin Constantine is the third baseman, rounding it out in the ninth spot for San Luis Obispo. As for the defensive alignment for the Sonoma Stompers, Sepulveda is catching for Sonoma, Lazul at first, Libby at second with Malton at third, Boardman at shortstop, Sebastiani in left, Akers in center with Shannon in right making his Sonoma debut, and Hahn will be DHing for the Stompers. On the mound for Sonoma, it's the right-handed pitcher from Grand Canyon University, Devin LaGuinto. He's already made a start for Sonoma this summer. 4 innings pitched, 3 hits, 3 runs, no earned runs though, 2 walks and 6 strikeouts. That was in Sonoma's loss against the Athletic Edge last Saturday, one of their 2 losses on the season. Game number 9 for the Blues and game number 7 for the Stompers. About to get underway here from Sonoma, California. Here's E.J. Royal leading it off for the Blues. And before we can get going, time is called on the field. And now we're ready to go. Not sure what just happened now, but EJ is ready in the back of the right-handed batter's box. The first pitch delivered and swung through for strike one. First pitch delivered at 6:06 p.m. The first pitch temperature 74 degrees and sunny. Another nice night here in the North Bay. Royal leaves that one downstairs. 1 ball and 1 strike to Royal. Looking at EJ taking batting practice today, and I think like a lot of Blues players, he is working on staying through the middle of the baseball and going the opposite way. 1-1. And Royal late on another heater for strike 2. Worked on it extra, playing a game of pepper with Zach Tullerman down the third base line. Hit a ball the opposite way on the ground, pointed and said, "That's what I want to do." 1-2, a fastball missing outside. Sepulveda can't glove it, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Tullerman sharing a conversation with Cam Andrews while playing pepper, and Royal found something there. 2-2. EJ slaps it in the air high on the right side. Shannon ranging to his left, makes the running grab on the chalk for the first out of the inning. So like yesterday, EJ goes the opposite way, but instead of extra bases, it'll go down as a fly ball to the right fielder, Shannon, making his Stompers debut today. So here's Eli Henderson, the only left-handed bat in today's lineup for San Luis Obispo. Second baseman batting second, entering his 3rd year at Cedarville University with the Yellow Jackets. First pitch, Henderson watches that one in there for a called strike, 0-1. Eli spits on that one inside. 1 ball and 1 strike now. Henderson from Clovis, California, 5'8", 180-pound rising junior. 1-1. Eli watches that called strike on the outer half. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. Working quickly is LaGuinto. Here's the 1-2. Henderson watches that pitch low for ball 2. Awfully close call there from Eli Henderson, but he gets right back in the batter's box as LaGuinto quickly works through the windup on the 2-2 pitch. Henderson gets a changeup and he sends it up and out of play on the left side. Do it again at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Eli's walk to strikeout ratio is ridiculous. Only 34 career Ks to his 74 career walks at Cedarville University in his 2 seasons. 2-2. Another changeup, it bounces on top of home plate. Count moves to 3 balls and 2 strikes. We'll talk about the lineup construction for this Blues roster too. Henderson is a guy they like in the 2 spot because of his ability to get on base and draw the walk right here. Henderson gets the one-out walk and a runner on first for Don Jordan. And that's exactly why Henderson getting a 2-strike count and working himself into the base on balls in the first inning. That's why Trainer and Regalado like Henderson in that spot. So here's Don Jordan, who recently entered the transfer portal as soon as it opened. It's this one off the hand that sputters over Lazul, and the second baseman Libby makes the running grab. Out number 2 comes on one pitch, and up comes Mason Ashlock. Ashlock had a pretty exciting batting practice to watch, just sending balls in the left center gap, depositing them over the fence in the football bleachers. A known fact about Arnold Field, it used to be a football stadium, and the bleachers on the sideline still remain. Ashlock is first pitch swinging, and he sends it straight back for strike 1. Mason yesterday was 1 for 4, a single in the 5th inning and 3 strikeouts. One of the 3 Blues players to have 3 Ks on the night. 0-1. Ashlock leaves that one inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 outs in this inning so far, neither have been strikeouts. Both pop fly outs on the right side of the infield. 1-1. Ashlock, grounder up the middle. The shortstop Boardman flips it over to second to get the force out, and the side is retired. Blues come up empty in the top half of the first. Now it's time for the Stompers in the home half of this frame on the Slow Blue Streaming Network.
$1 ticket. It's a $1 ticket.
Bottom of the first here from Arnold Field, and up come the Sonoma Stompers. Landon Akers, the center fielder, leads it off. Hiron Hahn DHs and bats second, with Nick Sebastiani playing in left and batting third. McCann Libby, the second baseman, bats in the 4-hole. Charlie Malton, the third baseman, bats fifth. Colton Boardman plays shortstop and bats sixth. Brady Shannon in right field making his Stompers debut, bats seventh. Esteban Sepulveda, the catcher, bats eighth. And Paul Lazul, the first baseman, rounds it out in the ninth spot for Sonoma. Here's a defensive alignment for San Luis Obispo. Brody Miller behind the dish with Zach Tallman over at first base. Eli Henderson at second with Gavin Constantine manning the hot corner. Diego Murillo at shortstop with Ashlock in left. E.J. Royal in center and Don Jordan in right with Gavin Smith DHing. And on the mound for the San Luis Obispo Blues, it's the former Golden Gator from SF State, Sean Bauman, who made an appearance against the Santa Maria Indians and was stellar. 3 innings of work, 5 strikeouts, no walks, and no hits. He hopes to have similar production today against the Sonoma Stompers as the Blues look to even up the series here in Northern California. Leading it off for Sonoma, it's Landon Akers, the center fielder. Akers arguably the squad's best bat. After an incredible year at Bellarmine University, he's earned the right to that title. All-freshman A-Sun honoree and second-team All-League his first season with the Knights. Here's Sean Bauman from the windup. And the first pitch hits Akers in the elbow. Free 90 feet for Akers, kicks things off in the first inning. And if you saw the day that the Blues had yesterday in terms of the errors and the hit by pitches and the free 90s, that's not the foot you want to start off with. So here's Hiron Hahn as Scott Bauman shakes off that hit by pitch to the leadoff man Akers. From the stretch, Bauman works with an average lead at first base from Akers. Couple of nods. Now the first pitch. Hahn shows bunt and pulls it back. Retreating back to first base is Akers on ball one. We've talked about yesterday, too, how deceptive the shadows are here at Arnold Field. And hitters were talking about how hard it is to see the baseball. Bauman apparently getting lit up by the sun, too. 1-0. Hahn gets the bunt down. Constantine charges, throws it over to first, and squeezes it in time. Sacrifice bunt is successful for Hiron Hahn. One gone and a runner at second now for the Stompers.
Now batting from the San Jose Junior College, left field number 6, Nick Giacomini.
And I say Bauman having some trouble with the sun. He's got sunglasses on. I can't say I've seen a pitcher wear sunglasses too many times in my life. Typically it's something you see from an infielder or an outfielder. But never have I seen a right-hander rock the sunnies on the hill. My intuition tells me they're prescription. So here's Nick Sebastiani batting third, left fielder today for Sonoma. One look at second, now he delivers. First pitch is a curveball, missing inside for ball one. Runner at second base for the Stompers. It's Landon Akers. He advanced on the sacrifice bunt from Hiron Hahn. Bottom of the first, a scoreless ball game. Scott Bauman on the bump for the Blues. He checks second base. Now strides and shoots. 1-0, high and outside. Miller slides to his right to get there. 2-0 to Nick Sebastiani. Nick yesterday, a 1-for-4 afternoon, recorded the first base hit of Sonoma's day, a double in the first. Struck out swinging, grounded out to the shortstop O'Hara, and popped out to Jordan Wright. Deep sigh from Bauman. As he fires, misses inside. 3 balls and no strikes. Aggressive lead at second base for Landon Akers. Went quite a long ways on that secondary. He stays on the bag. Three balls and no strikes. 1 out and a runner at second base. Here's the pitch. Fastball off the mid of Brody Miller. Man, that's ball 4. A hit by pitch and a walk this inning. Runners on first and second now for McCann Libby. The first walk Bauman has led up in a Blues uniform this summer. And it comes with 1 out in the first. Libby's the second baseman batting fourth today for Sonoma. Went hitless yesterday against Bagby in the stellar bullpen for the Blues. Long look at second base. Taking off towards third is the leadoff man Akers. The throw down. Constantine blocks it in front. Double steal is perfectly executed, and the Stompers in striking distance of cashing in the first 2 runs of this ball game. And they wreak havoc on the base paths for sure. We saw that in the first 2 frames yesterday, and it's continuing today with that double steal with Sebastiani and Akers. So now here's Libby, the second baseman, who drove in a run yesterday with his sacrifice fly in the second. Bauman now working from the windup, with the infield playing in with 1 out. The 0-1. Curveball swung on and missed for a strike. Libby also flew out to right and struck out yesterday. A Louisiana Tech commit from Frisco, Texas, after playing just 1 season of community college baseball at Navarro College. From the windup, here's the 0-2. Changeup swung on and missed for strike 2. And check that, strike 3. The scoreboard was incorrect, and Scott Bauman gets his first strikeout of the day. And it comes in a huge situation with 2 runners in scoring position. As Bauman tries to strand those runners, Charlie Moulton, the third baseman, heads up to the plate. First pitch to him. Moulton leaves it outside, 1-0. Charlie from Pleasant Hill, California, and a Mustang from Los Medanos. common school for these Sonoma Stompers to come from. A big connection there with that JUCO program. Here's the 1-0. This pitch misses way outside, hits off the backstop. Runner comes home. The flip to home plate is not in time. Heads up base running from Landon Akers. He got a good jump and just slid into home head first for the first Stompers run of the evening. And mistakes like that just can't happen. Nowhere near being a competitive pitch. Miller couldn't even get any piece of leather on it as he dove to his right to retrieve that baseball. So with Akers scoring, Nick Sebastiani moves to third base. And the infield has a meeting at the mound. Dean Traynor hobbles out there to talk to his right-hander. As the infield goes to break it up, Traynor is about to arrive. Just making sure everything is healthy and good with Scott Bauman, who's in the transfer portal and looking for a new university after the San Francisco State program went under. Played in 2 JUCO seasons in 2 different schools, most recently at San Joaquin Delta College, a junior college powerhouse. As it looks like he might be dealing with some sort of injury here. He wants some practice pitches from the stretch. Saw him shake around that right arm, and that doesn't look good. Bauman writhing in pain as he ran off the mound, and this is the last thing you want to see. Grimacing hard in front of the mound, clutching that elbow. The scariest sight to see for a pitcher. And hopefully Scott Bauman's okay. He swang on top of the mound. Most certainly will be coming out as he frustratingly walks towards second base. So as Bauman deals with an injury, we're going to see a new pitcher for the SLO Blues early in this game. And we'll come back to you after this. We'll introduce you to him on the SLO Blues streaming network.
Where's the athletic trainer?
New pitcher in for the game for San Luis Obispo. It's Hawk Hill, who is very familiar playing here at Arnold Field. 3 seasons with the Stompers, and now with the Blues on the other side of the baseball. Here's the 2-0, and the first pitch to Malton from Hill is in there for a strike. Scary moment for Scott Bauman as he felt some tingling in his right arm, threw a warm-up pitch to make sure everything's okay, and grimaced after his elbow popped. This one's put in the play on the left side. Diving stop from Constantine. Rocket over to first. Tellerman picks it and he's out. Nice play from Zach Tellerman, digging that one out of the dirt, and Hawk Hill minimizes the damage. 1-0 Sonoma as we head into the second inning on the SLO Blues streaming network. Top of the second inning from Arnold Field. It's never too late to purchase tickets for our signature fireworks game on July 3rd. Celebrate the Stars and Stripes and watch the Blues play under the lights at our biggest game of the summer. Get your seats now and secure those tickets at bluesbaseball.com. Zach Tellerman leads it off for San Luis Obispo in this frame and is the recipient of strike one. Brendan Comerford getting an off day over at first base, and ZT will replace him there. 0-1. And Tellerman watches that one bounce on home plate, a slider, 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, again, a scary moment which has brought a weird aura around Arnold Field. Scott Bauman coming out of this game after a gruesome arm injury as Tellerman's tardy on the fastball, 1 ball and 2 strikes. You could tell that something was just off with Bauman after looking so good against the Indians. The command was not even close. Threw a warm-up pitch and went down grimacing real hard, 1-2. Tellerman spits on that one low and outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And just the last thing you want to see for any player. Hopefully Bauman's okay. Hawk Hill came in to replace him. Now the Blues are up to hit, 2-2. And Tellerman hits it on the ground left side. Third baseman can't glove it, and it trickles into left field. He rounds first and jogs into second base. A stand-up double for Zach Tellerman to lead it off in the second inning. Tellerman labored over to second base as the gear he had on his elbow and his legs weighed him down, but he got there nonetheless in plenty of time. A lot of real estate in that foul ground area down the left field line, and I think it was difficult for the left fielder and Boardman to get there. But either way, it's the first base hit of the day for the Blues, and it sets up Gavin Smith real nicely here in the second inning. First pitch missing inside, and it hits the backstop. Tellerman takes off towards third. He's in there standing. Just by centimeters, that missed Gavin Smith, coming in hot off that press from LaQuinto. So now the tying run just 90 feet away for the Blues on that fastball that missed inside and hit the backstop. Gavin yesterday 0 for 2 with 2 walks, the only Blues player to walk in yesterday's contest. Pounds it into the ground left side. Shortstop Boardman's got it over to first. An RBI ground out for Gavin Smith. Ties the game at 1 apiece in the second inning. Blues will take it anyway, anyhow. Just manufacture runs against the Stompers team. At this point, with the way yesterday went, anything but a strikeout would suffice for the Blues. First pitch to Brody Miller misses inside, 1-0. And Miller is pretty familiar with this area, I'd say, a former Seawolf from Sonoma State. 1-0 is in there for a strike. It evens it up at 1-1. A native of Santa Maria, California, as the 1-1 comes in, and that one's in there for a strike as well. Committed to Sonoma State after his freshman or senior season with Rigetti. 1-2, it's a soft grounder to the third baseman, Malton, who shuffles and throws over to first in time for the second out of the inning.
Last call for the way around the bases.
2 quick innings here from Arnold Field. And it's Diego Murillo, the shortstop, with 2 gone.
Now batting for the SLO Blues, number 7, Diego Murillo.
Laguinto impatiently waits from the windup. He tries and shoots. Murillo watches that one outside, 1-0. Here's the 1-0 to Diego. And Murillo leaves that one low and inside for ball 2. Murillo, originally from San Luis Obispo, graduate of SLO High and a Cuesta Cougar, now at Northeastern State. 2-0 is hit hard over the second baseman Libby's head, and it falls into center field. Sharp turn around first, and a 2-out base hit for Diego Murillo. That is a solid piece of hitting. That is exactly what Rene Regalado and the rest of the coaching staff is looking for. Barreled up the opposite way on a low line. Sustainable business model, at least playing in the CCL, as Gavin Constantine, the 9-hole hitter, steps up with 2 outs and a runner on first. First pitch to Gavin is swung on and missed for strike 1. A sweeper on the outer half. E.J. Royal, the leadoff man, stands on deck for the Blues. Murillo at first, following the single, as the pitch misses low, 1-1 to Constantine. Just spent his second season at St. Bonaventure in upstate New York after growing up in McKinney, Texas. Had a much better sophomore campaign than his freshman year. 1-1, finds the zone for strike 2. Batting south of 200, batting close to south of 100 with a 105 average his first season. Bumped it up to 250. Constantine loops it in the air to left field. The shortstop Boardman comes out and makes a leaping grab. But not before the Blues tie the game on Zach Tellerman coming to score. An RBI ground out from Gavin Smith. We head to the bottom of the second, tied at 1 on the SLO Blues streaming network.
So, we got
Hawk Hill, the former longtime Sonoma Stomper, back out there on the rubber for the San Luis Obispo Blues in the bottom half of the second inning, where the Blues have tied it. An RBI ground out from Gavin Smith brought across Zach Tellerman, who doubled for the first Blues hit of the afternoon. Colton Boardman is the leadoff man for the Stompers, and the first pitch from Hawk Hill misses low and inside for ball one. Boardman, one of the 3 left-handed hitters in today's lineup for Sonoma. And he's the shortstop from Cal State Northridge. From the windup, the pitch is hit up the middle, and it falls in front of E.J. Royal in center field for a base hit. Leadoff single for the Sonoma Stompers, and it's the first hit of the afternoon. So now here's Brady Shannon, an ever-intimidating presence at the plate, making his Sonoma debut.
37, Brady Shannon.
Shannon is a 2-sport athlete at Youngstown State University, the same city where he was born and raised. Football and baseball for the Penguins. First pitch misses high, 1-0. Shannon coming off a video game season at Youngstown State, where he earned this career record, or the single season record, in slugging, OPS, home runs, walks, and extra base hits. 1-0, he's tardy on a fastball here, sends it straight back for strike one. 1-1 to Shannon, who hit a walk-off home run on May 10th against Oakland to secure the Penguins' victory over the Golden Grizzlies. Rising redshirt junior, a former Knight from University of Central Florida. Check over at first base, and diving back in time is Boardman. 1 ball and 1 strike to the outfielder Shannon, making his debut in right field today for the blue and orange. Average lead at first base. Hill on the 1-1 delivers and misses inside with the off-speed pitch. 2-1 now to Shannon. Now Shannon also plays quarterback for the Penguins. Just played in 3 games. 4 rushes for 18 yards against Valparaiso. Check back over at first base, and Boardman's there in plenty of time. Still 2-1 to Brady Shannon. Hawk Hill from the stretch takes a deep breath. Shadows completely covering the hill. 2-1. Shannon pops it up, and it will be out of play off to the right. Evens up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. No outs in the bottom of the second inning. A tied ball game at 1 apiece. Blues just put together the first run of today with an RBI ground out from Gavin Smith in the second. Stompers got their run in the first inning. Landon Akers came around to score on a wild pitch. 2-2. Off speed. Taken for strike 3. Second strikeout of the day for the Stompers offense. Comes from Hawk Hill. That's his first K of the day. And there's 1 gone in the second inning.
Now batting for your Sonoma Stompers, number 46.
Big K against a deadly hitter as Estevan Sepulveda digs in now. The catcher from Pepperdine University and a native of Lancaster, California. Hill delivers the first pitch, and it scoots away from Brody Miller onto the on-deck circle of Sonoma. Wild pitch awards Colton Boardman second base. Sepulveda, in his first year at Pepperdine, batted .303 for the Waves and made 16 starts. 1 home run and 9 runs batted in. Now he's here with a runner on second base. And a game notched at 1 apiece. That's the go-ahead run over at second. 1-0. Hits it on the ground right side, and it's into the outfield for a base hit. Stop sign at third applied to Boardman. A 1-out single from Sepulveda puts runners at the corners for the Stompers. Second hit of the inning. The second hit Hawk Hill has given up today. So now with runners at first and third, it's Paul Lazule making his return to Sonoma this summer. He played with them last year when he was committed to Loyola Marymount University as a graduate of Newberry Park High School, but since changed his mind to Monterey Peninsula College, and he played with the Lobos last year with Jake Hicksenbaum, who is on the Blues bench this afternoon after DHing yesterday. First pitch to Lazule. He swings and misses for strike 1. One out, runners at first and third. It's Boardman at third and Sepulveda at first. Lazul was second team All Marmonte League his senior season in Newberry Park. 0-1 is a nicely dotted changeup on the outer half for strike two. In a two-strike count, the big left-handed hitter from Oak Park, California, standing at 6'3", 215 pounds. The leadoff man, Landon Akers, is due up on deck for the Stompers. Hawkhill checks first base. Comes set on the 0-2, now delivers. And Lazul watches the floating changeup outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hawk tried to test the outside corner to see if Lazul would offer it, but he didn't budge. 1-2 from Hill, who stares down his catcher Miller. Couple of former Sonoma State Seawolves. 1-2, fake break towards second, and Lazul lines it foul into the Stompers bullpen. We'll do it again at a ball and 2 strikes. Lazul this past season with the Lobos at Monterey Peninsula drove in 10 runs on 14 hits. Only 71 at-bats that year, batting south of 200 at 197. Two hits apiece for both of these ball clubs. 1 run each. 1-2. Lazul off the end of the bat and up the middle for a base hit. Stompers take the lead on an RBI single from Paul Lazul. It's 2-1 Sonoma. There's some timely hitting and some unluckiness for Hawk Hill.
Now batting for Sonoma Stompers.
3 hits in this frame for Sonoma, producing 2 runs. Here's Akers, the leadoff man, who scored the first run of the day for Sonoma. Hit by a pitch and scored on a wild pitch. Shows bunt, and he takes it for a strike. Brody Miller thought about backpicking the runner Sepulveda at second, but he holds up. 0-1 to Akers, who saw Scott Bauman the last time he was up. And he's getting another right-hander in Hawk Hill right now. Stompers just took the lead on an RBI single from Paul Lazul. Pops this one up off the thumbs. Jordan going back in right field. Makes the grab moving to his left and launches it into second base. The runner Sepulveda tagged from second and advanced to third. Productive out here for the Stompers, but there's 2 gone in the second inning. Pretty impressive how the Blues have been able to keep Landon Akers at bay. One of the more deadly bats in today's lineup, or in all of their lineups. A highly anticipated hitter who has been pretty quiet in this short 2-game stint with the Blues. So here's Hiron Hahn, the on-base machine for Sonoma, with runners at the corners and 2 outs. Stompers lead 2-1 over the San Luis Obispo Blues. Here's the first pitch. And Hahn watches the curveball in there for a strike. Hahn this summer batting .333 for Sonoma in this young season. Hawk Hill comes set. Now delivers. 0-1, smothered by Miller behind home plate. Another breaking pitch from Hawk Hill. 1-1. From the stretch. Here's the 1-1. And Hahn way early on this offering as he spoils it into the Sonoma Stompers dugout. 2-strike count to Hiron Hahn, a DH batting left-handed and native of South Korea. Walk-off hero from this past Sunday for Sonoma, where they beat the Alameda Anchors 15-14 in the 10th inning right here at Arnold Field. Hill comes set from the belt. The 1-2. And Hahn off the hands to the second baseman Henderson, who gobbles it up and throws it over to first in time, and the side is retired. The damage is done, though. An RBI single from Paul Lazul gives the Stompers the lead, 2-1. We head into the third inning. Blues trail by 1 on the SLO Blues streaming network.
Has been farming and growing grapes in Carneros for over 40 years. We encourage you to witness our blind.
Top of the third inning is brought to you by the talented team at Studio Design Group Architects. Whether you're designing, planning, or needing permits for a new space, Studio Design Group and their collaborative philosophy have you covered. Visit sdgarchitects.com to learn more. Blues now trail 2-1 in this ball game against the Sonoma Stompers after an RBI single from Paul Lazul this past inning for Sonoma. It's the leadoff man, E.J. Royal, due up for San Luis Obispo, and he's the recipient of ball 1 off the arm of Devin Linguinto. Royal, the last time he was up, spoiled a fly ball to right field, and Shannon made a nice rangy play to make the grab. 1-0, missing inside, a hitter's count to the leadoff man, E.J. Royal in this young season is making his 6th start, has a .400 batting average, 8 of 20 so far. Here's the 2-0. E.J. leaves it low and outside. 3 straight balls to E.J. Royal, puts the count at 3-0. Only one of Royal's 8 hits are for extra bases, and it was that leadoff double he had yesterday against the Stompers. 3-0, and that fastball's called a strike. Royal didn't think so, but he'll pick up his bomb bat and get back in the right-handed batter's box. EJ batted north of 300 this past season in San Luis Obispo in the summer, to the tune of 381. 3-1. Royal on the ground, up the middle, off the mound, and into center field, a base hit. Leadoff single for E.J. Royal, and the tying run at first base for the Blues. Third hit of the day for San Luis Obispo, and it comes loud off the bat of E.J. Royal. Hitter's count, he got a pitch he liked. It was a fastball, center cut. E.J. doing exactly what he wanted to. He told me in batting practice he wanted to keep it low, keep the approach middle to the opposite way, and he hits a ground ball right back up the middle. So here's the only left-handed batter tonight in the Blues lineup, in Eli Henderson, who walked the first time he was up. First pitch to Henderson is low for ball 1. Last time Eli was in a game, it was against the Cal Expos in game 1. He went hitless there, 0 for 3, but walked and came around to score in the 8th in the Blues' 8-1 victory over California. 1-0 is in there for a strike. 1-1 off the breaking pitch from Linguinto, who saw minimal action his first season with the Lopes at Grand Canyon University. Couldn't even get out of 1 inning, pitched in 2/3 after allowing an earned run. 1-1, fouled straight back. Now a 2-strike count now to Eli Henderson as the wind picks up here in the Sonoma Valley. It was a rather tranquil day yesterday. It was still, temperatures in the mid-70s. Now it's a bit cooler with the gusts coming in from the bay. Linguinto comes set with a runner on first on the 1-2. Henderson leaves that one low and outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And you can never give Henderson too much credit for his knowledge of the strike zone. Very impressive discipline with his 74 career walks and 30 strikeouts at Cedarville University in 2 seasons where he started all 100 games. This guy's just wanted a shallow right center into no man's land, and the second baseman Libby clanks it off his glove. He tried to go to second to get E.J. Royal, but Boardman can't glove it either. A tough play for the second baseman Libby. Popped it up where they ain't, and they'll chalk it up as a base hit for Eli Henderson. Puts runners at first and second for the Blues. The go-ahead run over at first base as a meeting at the mound for Sonoma ensues. Back-to-back base hits for San Luis Obispo brings 2 runners on. Last time Blues had back-to-back base hits, it was in their 16-8 win against the Cal Expos on Sunday. In that 5th inning, which was just insane, a 7-run 5th inning against California. Home plate umpire breaking up the meeting at the mound as Don Jordan gets ready to dig in. Jordan entered the transfer portal right when it opened on June 2nd. Formerly an outfielder at the University of Texas. He dealt with injury the whole time he was there in Austin. Broke a hamate bone in the fall, and just when he was about to get healthy, broke a rib just before the spring season. We were talking with him. This summer is the first time he has played a competitive baseball in about 8 months. He's looked impressive so far. The player of the weekend this past weekend for us. Got the dog of the day a couple of times as well. He's been great. 11 hits, that leads the team, and his 28 at-bats. He smoked a fly ball to center field yesterday, but Akers made a nice grab for the out. He shows butt here and gets it down on the right side. The pitcher, Laguinto, flips it over to first and retires Jordan. Not before Royal and Henderson advanced another 90 feet each. A little small ball from the SLO Blues, and it puts 2 runners in scoring position.
Now batting for the SLO Blues, number 51, Mason Ashlock.
So now it's Mason Ashlock who grounded out to the shortstop Boardman to end the first inning last time he was up. Ashlock has one of the most impressive power bats in this lineup for the Blues. First pitch, and Ashlock hits it hard and deep to left field. He's going back at the wall, hits off the top of the wall. Royal scores easily. Henderson scores 2, and Ashlock is called out at second base. Thought he can get there in plenty of time, but he's tagged out at the bag. Either way, it's a 2 RBI single for the Blues, and they pull away from the Stompers 3-2. So 2 gone after Ashlock ran into that out at second base. And it's now Zach Tollerman. Tollerman watches the first pitch four-seamer for a strike. Ashlock barely hit that baseball fair. He crushed it. But the outfielder and Sebastiani did a great job relaying it back to second base, where Ashlock thought he would be in standing no matter what. I think they just kind of caught him sleeping and just tagged him out. So here's Zach Tollerman in an 0-2 count now against Laguinto. The pitch. ZT fouls it on top of home plate. We'll do it again at no balls and 2 strikes. Tollerman recorded the first Blues base hit of the afternoon. It was in the 2nd inning. It was a leadoff double where he came around to score off a Gavin Smith RBI groundout. 0-2 bounces on top of home plate, and Sepulveda keeps it in front. 1-2 to Zach Tollerman. Out of eligibility to play college baseball, but will be submitting a petition for another year at San Jose State. From the windup, here's the 0-2. Tollerman hits it on the ground to the shortstop. Boardman gobbles it up, shuffles, and throws to first in time. Nice stretch from Lazul as the side is retired, but not before Mason Ashlock brings in 2 runs and gives the Blues the lead on a 2 RBI single. Blues up 3-2, heading to the bottom half of the 3rd on the SLO Blues streaming network. 3, 4, 5, 2 up for the Sonoma Stompers after the Blues have taken the lead. A 2 RBI single from Mason Ashlock. He was tagged out at second base. Leadoff man Nick Sebastiani, his first pitch swinging and sends it to the shortstop Constantine, or to Murillo, who makes the throw over to Tallerman for the first out of the inning. 1 pitch, 1 out for Hawk Hill in another inning of work, and now it's McCann Libby.
Now batting for your Sonoma Stompers, number 49, McCann.
Stompers playing from behind. And first time this series, as the first pitch to Libby is in there for strike 1. McCann, a Louisiana Tech commit. 0-1. And Libby leaves that offering in the zone for strike 2. Hawk Hill dying it up with the off-speed pitch to the Texas native McCann Libby. 0-2. Libby half swing, and he went around for strike 3. Hawk Hill gets his second strikeout of the day, the third of the Stompers' afternoon, and there's quickly 2 gone in the inning. Second time today, McCann Libby has gone down swinging, and now it's Charlie Malton, the third baseman. Malton, last time he was up, ended the first inning and was the first batter to face Hawk Hill. Grounded out to the third baseman, Constantine. And that first pitch is in there for a strike. Malton played in left field yesterday, now playing at third base today for Sonoma. A 280 average season at Los Medanos Community College and 168 at-bats. Another check swing. They appeal to first, and he went around for strike 2. Hawk Hill trying to get in a groove now in a ballpark he is all too familiar with, and an area he's familiar with as well. Played for the Sonoma State Seawolves last season before their program went under, and spent all of his years of summer ball right here in Sonoma County at Arnold Field. 0-2. Bouncing ball on home plate, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hawk Hill's tempo has increased as he has gotten more comfortable on the mound. He kind of came in an unusual situation with Ballman going down with a gruesome injury. 1-2. Curveball bouncing behind home plate on the foul ball. We'll do it again at a ball and 2 strikes. No update on Scott Bauman either. He threw a warm-up pitch after feeling some tingling in his elbow, and it spelled trouble immediately, grimacing and holding his right elbow. So Hawk Hill had to work double time in the bullpen to come out onto the mound, and he got the quick out, gave up a run in the second, but minimized the damage thus far. 1-2. Fastball just missing below the zone for ball 2. Looked like an awfully close take to Charlie Malton, but he digs back into the 2-2 count against Hawk Hill, who gets back on the rubber in the windup. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Hawk Hill gets him swinging and ends the third inning for Sonoma. Headed to the fourth, Blues up 3-2 on the Slow Blues streaming network. Summer is here and the boys are back in town. Come celebrate the Blues' 79th season with fireworks after the game against the Menlo Park Legends on Friday, June 6th. Buy your tickets now at bluesbaseball.com. New pitcher in for the Sonoma Stompers, it's Nicholas Haas. He replaces Devin LaGuinto, who in 3 innings of work led up 5 hits for 3 runs, all 3 of them earned, 1 walk, and how about this? No strikeouts for the Blues offense. They had 16 last night, and through 3 innings here at Arnold Field, they have no strikeouts so far. 6-7-8 due up for the San Luis Obispo Blues. Gavin Smith leads it off for the Blues after an RBI groundout in the 2nd inning. First pitch to Smith. This is low and inside for ball 1. Hawk Hill just made easy work out of the Stompers in this past inning. A couple of Ks against Sonoma after leading off with a ground out ball to the second baseman Murillo, as Lazul can't handle this line drive to him, so he'll flip it over to the pitcher Haas, who taps on first and retires Gavin Smith for the first out of the inning. Lazul almost made a dazzling play over at first base, but lost control of the baseball at the last second. But luckily, Haas was there in time to recover and make the play. So now it's Brody Miller, today's catcher for the Blues, digging in now. And Lazul looks like he might have broken his glove. Gavin did hit that baseball hard, but I didn't think it'd be that hard. Lazul needs to get new leather, and he opts for the all-black Wilson. Well, at least that mitt died a hero. And now with a brand new set of leather, Lazul's back out there at first, and Brody Miller watches the first pitch low for ball 1. So now 1 gone here in the 4th inning, and the catcher Brody Miller, who grounded out to the third baseman Malton, is up. Here's the 1-0, and Miller, a bouncing ground ball to the shortstop Boardman, who launches it over to first, and with a new glove, Lazul makes the snag. 2 quick outs here in the 4th inning after Hawk Hill went 1-2-3 against the Stompers. And now it's Diego Murillo. Murillo recorded the second base hit of the Blues afternoon. They have 5 so far and 3 runs to show for it. Murillo watches the first pitch high for ball 1. A Slocal. Maria went to Cuesta College for 2 seasons, and after 2 years with the Cougars, earned a spot at a 4-year university at Northeastern State. 1-0 misses low, 2 balls and no strikes. To the current Riverhawk from Northeastern State, 287 batting average this past season, a 421 slugging, including 11 doubles, 4 homers, and 2 triples. Hits this one off the thumbs and in foul territory for strike 1. And in a 2-0 count, Murillo gets jammed, but he digs back into the batter's box. This season, Murillo has only started in 2 games. He's making his 3rd start today. 1 for 7 so far, 2-1. Diego spits on a fastball low and outside. 3 balls and a strike now. Murillo has scored 3 runs for the Blues and has driven in 1 himself. 3-1. Diego, a ground ball to short, bobbled by Boardman, and an error keeps the inning alive for the Blues. And they'll actually award that as a base hit, the 6th hit of the day for San Luis Obispo. Blues recorded 5 hits in total last night, and they've already exceeded that number here in the 4th. Back-to-back singles for Diego Murillo. He's a perfect 2 for 2 today, and now it's Gavin Constantine. Gavin leaves the first pitch inside for ball 1. Last time Constantine was up, he popped out to the shortstop Boardman to end the 2nd inning. Average lead at first base for Murillo. For Murillo, check that as Constantine calls time and digs back into the batter's box. 1-0 to the St. Bonaventure Bonnie. The pitch. Runner takes off to second base. Sepulveda can't handle the baseball as he transitioned it into his throwing hand. A stolen bag for Murillo. Runner in scoring position now for the Blues and a chance to add some more insurance run. 3rd stolen base of the summer for Diego Murillo. 2-0. And Constantine dribbles it to the shortstop Boardman, who throws it over to first in plenty of time to retire the side. Murillo's a perfect 2 for 2 on the day, but he's stranded at second base. It's still 3-2 San Luis Obispo on the Slow Blues streaming network.
Brought by Flybird Margaritas. If you need margaritas on the
Colton Boardman, Brady Shannon, and Esteban Sepulveda due up for the Sonoma Stompers in this inning. First, it's the shortstop from Cal State Northridge, Boardman, who takes a look at ball one from Hawk Hill, who heads out there for potentially his third inning of work. So far today, Hill threw 2 1/3 and struck out 3 batters and allowed 1 run. Shows bunt and pulls it back as Brody Miller keeps it in front. 2-0 now to Charlie Malton, who's 0-2 today. Ended the first and third inning with a grounder to Constantine and a strikeout swinging respectively. I checked that. This is Colton Boardman, 1 of 1 today. Boardman watches that pitch for a strike. Two and one from Hill. Fastball hit high and deep in the air to left field. Ashlock ranging to his right. Makes the running grab for the first out of the inning. Fly ball out to begin the fourth. And now it's Brady Shannon, the right fielder from Youngstown State in Ohio. Blues up 3-2 over the Sonoma Stompers in the bottom half of the fourth inning.
Number 37,
One out in the frame. And it's Shannon, who is a highly anticipated bat for the Stompers roster. First pitch. And Shannon watches the changeup for strike one. Shannon broke a plethora of records this past season at Youngstown State University. 0-1. Well, went inside, ball 2, or ball 1. Including a single season, slugging, OPS, home runs, walks, and extra base hits. 1-1. Shannon watches the breaking ball upstairs. 2 balls and a strike now to Brady. Prior to his season at Youngstown State University, he was a Golden Knight at University of Central Florida. Played in 25 games and made 9 starts as a true freshman. He's laid on a fastball here, sending it straight back. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Recorded 7 hits with the Golden Knights. 4 runs scored and 5 runs batted in, including 2 home runs in his true freshman season. Making his Stompers debut today and in a 2-2 count against Hawk Hill. With one out, Hill takes a side. Now from the windup delivers. Swung on and missed. Strike three. Hawk Hill with his 4th K of the day brings in the 2nd out of the 4th inning. He's feeling good, strutting around the mound with a full head of momentum back in his own hold city.
Number 46, Esteban Sepulveda.
2 outs now for Esteban Sepulveda. A single back in the 2nd inning. He was stranded on base there. First pitch is a fastball over the top, missing low, 1-0. Sepulveda from Pepperdine University. An electric first season with the Waves. 1-0. Sepulveda cues it into the on-deck circle and into the dugout of Sonoma. 1 ball and 1 strike to the Pepperdine backstop. Graduate of Quartz Hill High School in 2024, where he was a varsity player for 3 seasons. First team All Golden League. He was the team MVP, a first team All CIF selection, and a Larry Lakes All-Star. Translated that well at the D1 level with his .409 slugging, 20 hits. Breaking pitch, missing for a ball. Sepulveda struck out 18 times. Walked 6 and was hit by pitch 3 times his first season at Pepperdine. He's here in a 2-1 count against Hawk Hill. Tardy on a fastball here, sending it straight back and moving into a 2-2 count. Hawk Hill from the windup. On the 2-2. Bouncing ball in front of home plate. Fills it up at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Hawk's off-speed stuff has looked great. It's a real nice take from Sepulveda, the way that breaking pitch was going. Started at the bottom of the zone and completely broke down. Off the good take, here's the payoff. Pitch missing low and outside for ball 4. Just the 2nd walk issued today by Blues pitching, only the 1st of Hawk Hill's outing. And Blues pitching has been something that this roster could hang its hat on. They've been very effective, especially in non-conference play. And for the most part, minimized the damage yesterday. The only exception was Cooper Bagby kind of losing his command and the hit by pitches and the errors. Just nothing went his way in those first 2 innings yesterday. Then the bullpen cleaning it up rather nicely. Here's Lazul. And he takes strike 1 on the outer half. Paul singled to drive in one of the 2 Stompers runs today. Part of a 3-hit inning in the 2nd, where Boardman came in to score. Hot off the bat from Lazul, 0-1. And Paul hits this one off the end of the bat. Jordan ranging to his right, makes the running grab, and Hawk Hill is hyped, strutting back into the dugout. Still 3-2 San Luis Obispo as we head into the 5th on the SLO Blues streaming network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for
E.J. Royal leads it off for the Blues in the top half of the 5th inning from Arnold Field. San Luis Obispo up 3-2 over the Stompers as Royal spits on the changeup outside, ball 1. E.J. Royal, Eli Henderson, and Don Jordan due up in this frame, trying to extend their lead over Sonoma, the team they lost to last night. Royal leaves a four-seamer outside as Sepulveda had to get out of a crouch to get there. 2 balls and no strikes to E.J. now. Royal has hit a leadoff single 3 times this season. That's called doing your job as the leadoff man. 2-0. E.J. leaves an elevated fastball high, 3 balls and no strikes. Royal is 1 for 2 this afternoon, a single in the 3rd and a fly ball out to right field in the 1st. Came around to score on Mason Ashlock's long 2 RBI single, 3-0. Royal scooches out of the way on a fastball inside, a leadoff walk to E.J. Royal. And a good base runner to have over at first base. Finished the season 2nd in stolen bases on the entire Blues roster last year with 19. So far this summer, E.J. has 3. Doesn't lead the Blues, though. Brendan Comerford has the most with 4, which is a bit ironic if you look at his season at Ohlone College and last summer with the Blues. Not necessarily known for his speed. But he's at first base now, reaching base for the 2nd time today as Henderson shows bunt and gets it down nicely on the left side. The pitcher, Haas, gobbles it up, throws it to first, and the throw gets away. Royal rounds 3rd, and Regalado gives him the stop sign. Successful bunt from Eli Henderson. Runners at the corners now for the Blues. They'll chalk it up as an error on the pitcher, Nick Haas. So Henderson reaches on error. Royal runs 180 feet to third base. And another insurance run 90 feet away for Don Jordan. Another ironic moment for the Blues offense. Don Jordan had a sacrifice bunt in the 3rd, which, with the way he's swinging the bat right now, kind of the last guy I would think would bunt. But he's got sneaky speed as well. First pitch, Don swings and misses for strike 1. A violent hack at the changeup. Jordan's been smoking baseballs these past 2 weekends, including one yesterday in the 1st inning. A smoked fly ball just south of 400 feet to center field that was caught by Akers. Runners at 1st and 2nd, 0-1, and Jordan check swings and chops it into the backstop for strike 2. 2-strike count now to Don Jordan with runners at 1st and 2nd. It's Henderson at 1st and Royal at 3rd. Jordan has driven in 7 runs this season. 0-2. John leaves the 4-seam high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Brendan Comerford is the leader on this team in RBIs with 13. Jordan sits in 2nd place. 1-2, he holds up his swing on the breaking pitch inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Very mature take from Don Jordan, able to leave that pitch below the strike zone. Thought about going after it. He was in a good hitter's position and able to hold up his hack. 2-2. Blues up 3-2 in the top of the 5th. Here's the pitch from Haas, and Jordan swings and misses for strike 3. Don Jordan goes down swinging for the 5th time this summer. 1 gone now, and here's Mason Ashlock. He smoked that 2 RBI single in the 3rd inning and was tagged out at 2nd base thinking he had the bag standing. 1 for 2 today with 2 runs batted in, and Ashlock scooches out of the way of a fastball high and tight for ball 1. Ashlock with an insane season at Weatherford College this past year as he looks for another Division I opportunity after decommitting from Nebraska. The 1-0. He leaves that one outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Ashlock entering this game was 7 of 12 with a triple, his only extra base hit. Ashlock pounds it to the ground left side. 3rd baseman Malton goes to 2nd for 1. They fire over to 1st in time. double play gets the Stompers out of the jam and keeps the lead at 1 run for the Blues. 3-2 San Luis Obispo in the bottom half of the inning on the Slow Blues streaming network.
Now pitching for the Slow Blues, number 1, Cade O'Hara.
New pitcher for San Luis Obispo. It's the right-hander from the University of Texas, Cade O'Hara. He got the start at shortstop yesterday and is now on the bump for the Blues. Hawk Hill with an excellent performance against the Sonoma Stompers today, making his homecoming here at Arnold Field. 4 1/3 innings of work, 3 hits, just 1 earned run, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. The breaking pitch and the fastball were working well for Hill today, and we'll see how O'Hara bodes against this Stompers offense. Last time O'Hara was out there, it was his start against the California Expos. Real quick work there. 2 innings, no hits, 1 run. It wasn't earned, though. A walk and 2 strikeouts. That was the first time he had ever started a game at pitcher, and he comes out of the bullpen here for Dean Traynor and his staff. Blues up 3-2 over the Sonoma Stompers in the home half of the 5th inning, just over halfway through from Arnold Field. Leading it off, it's the leadoff man, Landon Akers. From the windup, O'Hara delivers. And a heater to Akers for strike 1. O'Hara making his 3rd appearance as a pitcher in his Blues uniform. 0-1. Second one missing low and outside. 1 ball and 1 strike to Akers. Faced 14 batters so far this summer. 2 strikeouts, 1 walk. Yet to give up an earned run. 1-1 is hammered into center field. It falls fast, and it falls in front of E.J. Royal for a base hit. Death Taxes and Landon Akers recording a base hit. It's a leadoff single in the 5th inning. That's the first one of his afternoon. And like I've said before, the Blues have done a nice job keeping Akers at bay, their most productive hitter on this lineup. The bottom of the order had been doing it well for Sonoma this game. Really the majority of the work coming in the 2nd inning. 3 hits in the bottom 4 hitters in the lineup. One of the runs coming in from the 9-hole hitter, Paul Lazul. So here's Hiron Hahn, who shows bunt and pulls it back. Hahn is first pitch swinging and skies it to Ashlock, who skips backwards and makes the flat-footed grab for the first out of the inning. Fly out to left with a runner at first base, and there's one gone in the frame. Hiron Hahn is 0 for 3 today. Here's Nick Sebastiani, one of the 2 Stompers hitters to walk this game. A walk in the first, and Sepulveda walked in the 4th. Sebastiani paired his base on balls with a ground ball out to Murillo at shortstop. Conservative lead at first base for Akers as O'Hara comes set from the stretch. First pitch is a called strike on the outer half. O'Hara at the University of Texas appeared in 13 games with a 1-0 record and a 2.75 earned run average with the Longhorns. 0-1. Bounces on top of home plate, and Brody Miller smothers it. Breaking pitch, 1 ball and 1 strike with an out. He had 6 walks and 12 strikeouts in 19 2/3 innings pitched at Texas and held hitters to a .229 batting average. So though he's got a short career as a pitcher, he's been very productive at this level. Bouncing ground ball to Constantine. He goes to second for 1 and on to first in time. Blues turn the double play, and they maintain their lead 3-2 over Sonoma. Into the 6th inning we go. Blues up by 1 on the Slow Blues streaming network.
And I have got 3 contestants over here.
Sixth inning is brought to you by our friends at Ancient Owl Beer Garden and Bottle Shop, your go-to spot for every Blues road game. Located just around the corner from Sinsheimer, Ancient Owl is the official home of the Blues Watch Party all season long. Ancient Owl, choose your beer wisely. And a hello to everyone watching at Ancient Owl Beer Garden right now. I appreciate the support. Here's Zach Tellerman leading it off for the Slow Blues with a 3-2 lead over the Stompers. ZT checks his swing on the first pitch. As it bounces into the backstop, they appeal to first. He didn't go around. 1-0 to Tellerman, who's 1 for 2 today. A leadoff double in the second inning was the first hit the Blues recorded all afternoon. Grounded to the shortstop Boardman the second time he was up. Nick Haas back out there. He comes through in the windup, and that fastball is in there for a strike. 1-1 to ZT, who will be petitioning for his final year of eligibility at San Jose State University. 1-1. And Tellerman leaves a four-seamer low and outside. 2 balls and a strike. Tellerman's also playing in his 3rd summer with San Luis Obispo. Getting comfortable after playing his first season after 2 years of Cuesta. 2-1. It's hammered to left field. Going back is Sebastiani. He's at the wall. It's into the bleachers. Zach Tellerman goes Yardy at the party and extends the Blues lead 4-2. That ball was demolished as he takes his time rounding the bases. And we haven't seen those power numbers too much in his time with San Luis Obispo. but he just bidded us a hello with that swing of the bat. Tallerman got all of that one, and here's Gavin Smith, who has the other Blues home run this summer.
That guy must get laid a lot.
Smith is the DH and is 0 for 2 today, but has an RBI ground out in the second inning. The recipient of ball one, and what is now a 4-2 ball game. Smith watches that fastball in there for a strike. Gavin DHing today. He started at third last night and was 0 for 2. Recorded 2 walks, the only 2 walks of the Blues' entire night. The four-seamer is blown right past him, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Smith, a matcha enthusiast. Everyone this morning opted for coffee. He made sure he got up early to go to Starbucks and get that green matcha. 1-2. Smith gets buckled up on the fastball, and it's taken for strike 3. Backwards K for Gavin Smith. Only the second strikeout of the day for Blues hitters after 16 last night, and it's the first out in the inning. Now it's Brody Miller, also 0 for 2 today. A couple of ground ball outs to the left side of the infield, making his Sonoma homecoming. Breaking pitch to Miller, missing low and inside, 1-0. Miller spent his first year of college ball at Sonoma State with the Seawolves, redshirted his season there. Now at Mendocino College, 1-0 and a half swing on a pitch outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. From the windup, here's the 1-1. And Miller lines it into center field. It falls fast, and Akers with some nice speed makes the running grab for the second out of the inning. Third time this week that Akers has robbed the Blues of a base hit. Some impressive speed out there in center. He's not even a primary outfielder. Usually a third baseman shortstop at Bellarmine University. The Stompers converted him into that spot because of his great athleticism, and it's paying off pretty well, I'd say. So 2 gone for Murillo, who is a perfect 2 for 2 this afternoon. A couple of singles and a stolen bag, his 3rd stolen base of the summer. Standing on deck, it's Gavin Constantine, as that fastball skips and bounces in the backstop for a ball. 1-1 count with 2 gone. 4-2 lead San Luis Obispo after Zach Tallerman hit a missile to left field. Murillo sends it straight back. 2-strike count now to the Northeastern State shortstop. A Slocal through and through. Went to SLO High School, went to Cuesta College, and on the 1-2, gets the off-speed pitch and spoils it off to the right and out of play. We'll do it again at 1 ball and 2 strikes. 4 home runs this past season with the Riverhawks. 2 triples, 11 doubles, and 58 hits. Here's the 1-2. Murillo spoils this offering into the parking lot off to the right. Once again, a 1 ball and 2 strike count. Murillo, when he was at Cuesta College, played with his brothers David and Marco, too. David earned all-conference first-team honors as a pitcher in 2010. 1-2. Murillo watches the four-seamer high and outside. Very nice take, 2 balls and 2 strikes. An underrated take. It's not the flashiest in the world because it's not an off-speed pitch, but after fouling off a couple that were really close, leaving an elevated fastball that high is pretty impressive as well. 2-2. Murillo spits on another four-seamer outside, again hitting the backstop. Fills it up at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Real nice at bat here for Diego Murillo. He walked 10 times and was hit by 10 pitches this past season and struck out 32 times. From the windup, here's the pitch. And Murillo off the hens over the Stompers bullpen, fighting with 2 strikes here. Diego entering this game, 3 hit by pitches and a walk compared to his lone strikeouts. 2 base hits in both of his at-bats so far. The pitch. Murillo again spoiling that fastball away and staying alive in the at-bats. Still a full count against Nicholas Haas, who replaced Linguito after 3 innings of work. The payoff. Murillo again spoils a 4-seam fastball up and out of the stadium. Six pitch at bat for Diego Murillo. 3-2. Swings and misses on the elevated fastball for strike 3. Haas wins the battle, but the Blues add another run on a Zach Tollerman long ball. It's 4-2 San Luis Obispo on the Slow Blues streaming network. Middle of the order due up for the Sonoma Stompers, and Cade O'Hara is back out there for a second inning of work at the University of Texas. The longest he went was 3 innings in relief. Entering inning number 2 right now, 4-5-6 due up for Sonoma. First pitch is a heavy fastball to McCann Libby for strike 1. Well, the Blues just extended their lead over the Stompers 4-2 now after Zach Tollerman hit a scud missile to left center field to leave the yard. 0-1 pitch missing low and outside. 1 ball and a strike from Cade O'Hara. McCann Libby is 0 for 2 today with 2 strikeouts. From the windup, here's the pitch. Heater, and it's fouled at home plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. McKibbe in danger of his 3rd K of the afternoon. In total, the Stompers have 5 tonight, and Libby accounts for 2 of them. 1-2 from O'Hara. Nice breaking pitch, just missing below the zone. 2 balls and 2 strikes. An impressive discipline that time from McCann Libby to spit on it. 2-2. Fastball is hammered to deep left field. Ashlock spinning around, and he can only look up. It's gone. Solo shot from McCann Libby, and the Stompers bring it within 1. Well, O'Hara brought the heat, and it didn't take much for Libby to throw out the barrel of his bat and deposit it over the left field fence. Libby's first home run off the season comes off Cade O'Hara in the bottom of the 6th inning. The sixth inning has seen 2 home runs, one from each side. But this one's a leadoff shot.
Sonoma Stompers number 29, Charlie Malton.
Same as Tollerman's. Malton tardy on a fastball here for strike 1. Malton 0 for 2 today. Struck out swinging to end the 3rd inning off Hawk Hill. Facing O'Hara for the first time today. 0-1 is hit high in the air to right field. Jordan fighting the shadows, now at the fence. Makes the grab with his heels on the wall for the first out of the inning. That's a short porch out in left too. 311 feet, or down in right, that is. 311 feet down the line. In most ballparks, especially Sinsheimer, you're not even close to the warning track. Jordan had to feel for the wall. That's not to say Libby's home run was a give me to left too. I mean, that was shot. So now it's Colton Boardman who's 1 for 2 this evening. This is a frozen rope in the left center gap, and it's going to fall in for a base hit. Rounding first, he stops there. E.J. Rill did a nice job getting it in. The Stompers are hitting around Cade O'Hara this inning.
Now batting for your Sonoma Stompers.
That's the 6th hit of the day for Sonoma, and it's Brady Shannon. Shannon came into this game with a ton of hype surrounding him because of his elite athleticism as a quarterback and outfielder for Youngstown State University in Ohio. But today, his debut has kind of fallen flat, 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts swinging. First pitch is a fastball missing low, 1-0. And Colton Boardman, that's his 2nd base hit of the day. He's over at first base, 2 for 3 his night. He scored one of the 3 runs that the Stompers have tonight. Late here is Shannon sending it back into the net. 1-1 from Cade O'Hara. O'Hara, like many players on this Blues roster, is looking for a new 4-year university after spending 2 seasons at Texas. Redshirted his first year, or got minimal action his first year, and redshirted his second. Long pause from the stretch. O'Hara comes home. This is a hard grounder to the second baseman Henderson. Flips it over to second for 1. On to first in time. Second double play turned by the Blues tonight, and it retires the side, but not before a McCann-Libby home run to lead off the 6th inning. It's 4-3 San Luis Obispo on the Slow Blues streaming network. Oh, here we go. Okay, I see it here. New pitcher in for the Sonoma Stompers. It's the right-hander Chris Albee from William Jessup University and Sacramento City College. It's a 4-3 ball game after 2 leadoff home runs in a row. Can you believe it? Zach Tarman led off the top of the 6th with a long ball, and then right after, McCann Libby leads it off with a shot to left field as well. So Nicholas Haas's day is done after 3 innings of work, 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned, a walk, and no walks and 3 strikeouts. New pitcher is Chris Albee. Right-hander facing the right-handed Gavin Constantine, who's 0 for 2 tonight. Pop out to the shortstop Boardman, and a ground ball out to him as well. E.J. Royal, the leadoff man, stands on deck. Blues up 4-3 over the Sonoma Stompers, top half of the 7th. First pitch, and Constantine hits it off the hands into shallow right. Libby going back, and the second baseman makes the one-handed grab for the first out of the inning. 1 pitch, 1 out here. Constantine almost broke his stick on that swing, and he moves to 0-3 on the evening. It's now E.J. Royal who's having a nice night at the dish. 2 of 3, the center fielder for San Luis Obispo. You can really see the work he put in batting practice today translate in today's game. Trying to hit the ball up the middle and the opposite way. The first pitch is a fastball called strike. Playing a game of pepper during BP, and he hit one hard on the ground the opposite way and exclaimed to the point, "That's what I want to do." And he did that in his last single of the 5th. 0-1 is a 50% swing on a slider for strike 2. Albee pitched for Sonoma last summer as well, a 4 earned run average and 9 innings of work, 11 strikeouts to 5 walks. From the stretchers, the 0-2. And Royal leaves that one low and outside for ball 1. Last season at Jessup University, he had a 6 earned run average in 6 innings of work, only 3 strikeouts, 2 walks, and 4 earned runs. 1-2. Royal leaves another 4-seamer low in the zone, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Eli Henderson stands on deck. He's reached base safely in all 3 of his plate appearances tonight. Royal in a 2-strike count with a widened stance. Watches a pitch missing outside and fills it up at 3-2. Blues have had a real nice bounce-back night offensively after an outing where they had 16 strikeouts. Only 3 tonight so far, and we've just entered the 7th inning. Payoff pitch. Royal swings and misses for strike 3. 4th strikeout of the night for the Blues offense, and there's 2 gone in the 7th inning.
Number 12, Eli.
Here's Eli Henderson, who walked in the 1st, singled in the 3rd, and reached on error in the 5th. Collected one of the Blues' 7 hits tonight. Henderson, a rising junior at Cedarville University with the Yellow Jackets. First pitch is a fastball with a bit of English to it. Misses high, 1 ball, no strikes. Albee strides and shoots on the 1-0. And Henderson hits it off the bat. It's a slow roller to Boardman, who makes the throw on the run. A nice stretch from Mizzou retires the side. 3 up, 3 down for the Blues offense in the 7th inning. It's time to stretch from Arnold Field. Blues up 4-3 over the Stompers on the Slow Blues streaming network.
First, I want to remind everyone that at the end of this half inning of play,
8-9-1 due up for the Sonoma Stompers in the bottom half of the 7th inning. First pitch swinging and lined right to the second baseman Henderson for out number 1. Esteban Sepulveda lines out right to Henderson for the first out of the inning. 1 pitch, 1 out for Cade O'Hara, who has pitched in 2 innings and is pretty close to matching his season high from the University of Texas, where he relieved in 3 innings for the Longhorns. Now it's the 9-hole hitter, Paul Lazule, who drove in a run back in the 2nd inning. That was Colton Boardman. He cashed in. First pitch to Lazule misses outside, ball 1. 1-run ball game in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Blues trying to escape with a victory in Sonoma, 1-0. And Lazule is tardy on a fastball here, right back into the screen. 1 ball and 1 strike. Lazule is playing in his 2nd season with the Stompers. Last year, he was on his way to Loyola Marymount University as a college freshman. At the last second, changed his mind and plays JUCO now at Monterey Peninsula College. His 4-seamer misses outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. Had his fair share of struggles this past season at Monterey Peninsula College, batting south of 200 for the Lobos. Now here in Sonoma, on the 2-1. And Lazule gets the fastball just missing inside. 3 balls and a strike. Miller wanted to know where that pitch missed. O'Hara dotted it as best as he could with some high velocity. 3-1. And Lazule swings, hits it off the bat and off the glove of Henderson diving at second base. Inches away from making a spectacular grab, but instead, Lazule reaches first with a single with 1 gone. 7th hit of the day for the Stompers. They have tied the Blues total tonight. 2nd hit of the day for Paul as well, as a pinch runner comes in for the first baseman Lazule. Leadoff man now for the Sonoma Stompers, it's Landon Akers. Kieran Baker is over at first base now, replacing Lazule. Akers, 1 for 2 today. A hit by pitch in the first, scored on a wild pitch in that frame, and then singled in the 5th. Bounces on top of home plate, and Miller keeps it in front for ball 1. 1 out in the inning after Sepulveda lined to the second baseman Henderson. It's Kieran Baker at first with Akers at the dish. 1 gone. O'Hara comes set on the 1-0. The pitch. Swinging and missing for strike 2. Not too many times you see Landon Akers fishing after a pitch like that, but with the nasty break O'Hara had that time, no surprises here. O'Hara saw good success pitching in SEC baseball, what was then Big 12 baseball, with his 2 ERA in relief. 1-1. Akers leaves the fastball high, 2 balls and a strike. The all-time hit leader in a single season for Bellarmine. On the 1-2. Runner goes, and he ropes this one into center field. Royal makes the grab and throws it back to first. Baker just took off towards second like there was 2 outs. He had all the confidence in the world that it was going to drop, but E.J. Royal says no. The Stompers get doubled off of a line out from Landon Akers, and the side is retired. Blues still up 4-3, heading into the 8th inning on the Slow Blues streaming network. Top of the 8th, and it's time to throw down for a hoedown at Sinsheimer on June 19th. Show up to the ballpark for the Blues game against the Arroyo Saints in Western-themed attire for 50% off your ticket. Giddy up to Western Night on June 19th. Get your tickets at bluesbaseball.com. 3-4-5, the heart of the order due up for San Luis Obispo as Don Jordan takes the first pitch outside, ball 1. Sonoma Stompers, the last 3 innings have all been retired via a double play. Last time they were retired a little more of an unconventional way. 1-0. Jordan swings and towers it to the right side. First baseman Lazul in foul ground. He gets caught off by the right fielder, and Shannon makes the grab for the first out of the inning. It was a line drive from the leadoff man, Akers. The runner in Baker took off towards second like there was 2 outs, and he was doubled up at first base. That was this frame. Now here, there's 1 out after the pop out to the right fielder in Shannon. So here's Mason Ashlock now with 1 gone. Ashlock is first pitch swinging and punches it the opposite way, and it tails foul for strike 1. Ashlock is 1 for 3 today. Grounded into a double play himself. Grounded to short in the first, and a 2 RBI single in the third. A long single, that is. He thought he had second base easily, but Sebastiani did a nice job on the relay. 0-1, and Ashlock straightens it out and sends it into right field for a base hit. 1 out single for Mason Ashlock. His second hit of the day. And he just continues to produce for San Luis Obispo. He just finds a way to get on and hit the baseball hard. So here's the home run hero from the 6th inning that gave the Blues their 4th run of the ball game, Zach Tollerman. He's 2 for 3 today, a double and a homer. Tollerman's first pitch is in there for a strike. Chris Albee back out there again for the Sonoma Stompers. Their bullpen is empty right now. Here's the 0-1. ZT leaves that one high. 1 ball and 1 strike to the first baseman from San Jose State. And Gavin Smith awaits on deck for the Blues. Mason Ashlock at first base following the 1 out single. Here's the 1-1. Tollerman takes another pitch for a strike, 1 ball and 2 strikes. ZT in his 3rd summer with San Luis Obispo. One, 2. Tollerman takes strike 3 looking. Slider from Chris Albee sits down Tollerman. And there's 2 gone in the 8th inning.
Now batting for the SLO Blues, number 10, Gavin Smith.
Backwards K is only the 5th of the night for San Luis Obispo. Now it's Gavin Smith. Smith is first pitch swinging and dribbles it into the Blues dugout for strike 1. Smith is 0 for 3 today, an RBI ground out in the 2nd inning. That's how the Blues got their first run on the board. Struck out looking in the 6th. Grounded out to the first baseman Lazul in the 4th. Ashlock takes off towards second base. A real nice jump, but Smith fouls it off into the right out of play. About as good of a jump as you can get from Mason Ashlock. He timed up Chris Albee perfect. He could have moonwalked into second base, but will have to retreat back to first following the foul ball from Gavin Smith. No balls and 2 strikes to the infielder from Harvard University. Here's the pitch. Fastball missing high, had some movement to it, some sink, but it doesn't break enough. A ball and 2 strikes. Smith upright in his stance with his crimson batting gloves, with Brody Miller on deck wearing the catcher's gear with 2 gone. Ashlock takes off towards second. Another nice jump, but Smith goes down swinging. So Ashlock gets a 1 out single in the 8th, but back-to-back strikeouts end the inning for the Blues. They're up 4-3 over the Sonoma Stompers in the bottom half of the 8th on the SLO Blues streaming network. New pitcher for San Luis Obispo. It's the right-hander from Allen Hancock College, Jaden Turner. He relieves Kate O'Hara of his duties. O'Hara went 3 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. It was earned. It was that home run from Libby. No walks and no strikeouts. 2 up for the Stompers. It's 2-3-4. Hiron Hahn, Nick Sebastiani, and McCann Libby. First pitch to Hahn misses low and outside, ball 1. Turner making his 3rd appearance this summer with the Blues. In 4 innings of work, he has a 2.25 earned run average as Hahn showed bunt and pulled it back for strike. One. Hahn swings and sends it into center field. Royal sizing it up. Takes a couple steps to his left and makes the grab. And fly ball out from Hiron Hahn in the 8th inning. Now it's Nick Sebastiani. 0 for 2 night today. Grounded into a double play in the 5th. Grounded to short in the 3rd. And walked in the 1st inning. He was stranded at 3rd base there. First pitch to him is strike 1 from Jaden Turner. Swinging and missing for strike 2. And the stuff is there for Jaden Turner. He works quickly with the fastball and a wicked slider. 0-2. A rocket to right center field. Royal moving to his left. Calls off Don Jordan in right and makes the running grab for the 2nd out of the inning. Very efficient frame so far from Turner, who entered this game with 8 strikeouts in his 4 innings of work. He's the team leader in strikeouts, despite being in the bottom half of innings pitched. First pitch to McCann Libby is a called strike, 0-1. Libby hit that home run in the 6th to lead it off against Kate O'Hara. Breaking ball, shoots out of the mid of Miller for ball 1. Aside from that, Libby has a couple of strikeouts, one in the 1st and one in the 3rd. Turner from the windup, here's the pitch. Set straight back into the screen for strike 2. A little uptick in tempo from Jaden Turner after O'Hara was very patient on the rubber working against these batters. Here's the 1-2. Off speed, taken, strike 3. Turner wants to go home. He sits down McCann Libby looking, and the side is retired. We head in the top of the 9th inning. Blues still up by 1 over the Stompers on the SLO Blues streaming network. Last chance to tack on some more insurance runs for San Luis Obispo. Brody Miller leads things off in the top half of the 9th inning for the Blues. After him, it's Diego Murillo and Gavin Constantine. 7-8-9 due up for San Luis Obispo. They lead 4-3 over the Sonoma Stompers. First pitch to Brody Miller misses outside and rolls into the backstop for ball 1. Chris Albee back out there for another inning of work. Last frame, he allowed a Mason Ashlock single, his second hit of the day. But after that, struck out the next 2 batters to end the frame. 1-0. Miller leaves a breaking pitch inside. 2 balls and no strikes to Miller. Miller trying to join the hit party today. 8 this afternoon for San Luis Obispo, and he's 0 for 3. Got close, though, with a line drive to center field. Akers made a nice grab. He hits this one hard. It falls fast into right field, and it falls in front of Baker for a base hit. Scorched a liner off the barrel. Brody Miller with a leadoff single to begin the 9th inning. Miller joins the rest of the squad with a base knock. And here's Diego Murillo, who's got a couple tonight. 2 for 3 with a couple of singles and a strikeout swinging to end the 6th inning.
Number 7, Diego Murillo.
Murillo starting at shortstop tonight. He shows bunt, pulls it back. They try to back pick to first, and Miller gets in there in plenty of time with a head-first slide. Defensive changes as well. Paul Azul is out of the game, and Shannon, the right fielder, moved over to first with Kieran Baker now in right for the Stompers. Here's Diego Murillo and a 1-0 count with a runner on first. The pitch. Shows bunt, gets it down. It's a hard one down the third base line, and Malton will field it in foul ground. Right idea from Diego Murillo, but just a little too tough off the bat. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Blues frequently practice the bunts during batting practice. They'll finish the round with a push and a drag. And you can see Murillo's been in the lab working on that. Diego wearing Zach Tollerman's elbow guard, might I add, too. Not something uncommon for summer ball teams. You see a lot of guys exchanging gears, wearing schools that they don't go to on the shirt or on the pants. 1-1, and he's late here, fouling it straight back. 1 ball and 2 strikes. When Diego struck out swinging in the 6th, he fouled off 6 pitches before going down swinging. An incredible at-bat that unfortunately just didn't go his way. Trying to get on the right side of Chris Albee here in a 1-2 count. Murillo smokes it into right center. Ranging to his right is Baker. He makes the running grab. Nice catch by Kieran Baker, the new right fielder for the Stompers. And there's 1 out in the 9th inning. Good base running from Brody Miller, too. He went halfway, but was still looking to see where that ball would land. It was a 50-50 play because Baker didn't get the best jump, but at the last second, I think his speed pulled him closer to that baseball, and he made the running grab. So 1 out for Gavin Constantine, whose first pitch swinging and lines it hard into left field. Sebastiani at the fence makes the grab. Fly ball out for Gavin Constantine, and there's 2 gone as we flip it to the top of the order and E.J. Royal. Second time Constantine was first pitch swinging tonight. And when you get a pitch early in the count, why not take a hack at it? That's what analytics tell you. And here's Royal, who's 2 for 4 tonight. A strikeout swinging. 2 singles and a fly out to right. He looks at ball 1 here from Chris Albee. One arm getting hot in that Sonoma Stompers bullpen, just in case. Blues lead by 1 over Sonoma in Game 2 of CCL play. 1-0. Royal leaves that one outside as Sepulveda rolled to his right to get there. 2 balls and no strikes to the former Bison from Utah Tech. EJ graduated Arroyo Grande High School, then spent 2 seasons at Cuesta College, earned a Division I spot at Utah Tech, and now back in the transfer portal for his final season of college baseball. Brody Miller still at first base with 2 outs, 2-0. And Royal watches the 4-seamer in there for a strike. Eli Henderson awaits on deck for San Luis Obispo. 9 hits on the night for the Blues. From the stretch, here's the 2-1. And Royal watches the bouncing ball backhanded by Sepulveda for ball 3. Hitters count to the center fielder. One of the most consistent hitters in the Blues' past 2 seasons. Average lead at first, 3-1. Royal leaves a fastball outside for ball 4. 2-out walk for E.J. Royal brings up Eli Henderson. Last time Henderson was up, he grounded out to the shortstop Boardman to end the 7th inning. So Brody Miller, who collected his first base hit of the night, is at second base. E.J. Royal at first. And it's the left-handed hitting second baseman Eli Henderson. First pitch, and he leaves it outside, 1-0. Seems like Chris Albee is trying to be a little too perfect with his pitches. Kind of guiding the fastball and the slider as well. Was looking so good in his past 2 innings of work, and it's almost like he's forcing it now after that Brody Miller leadoff single. Long hold as he steps off, and he wants a meeting at the mound with Sepulveda, trying to get on the same page. Henderson with a single in the 3rd inning. He's 1 for 3. Reached on an error in the 5th, walked in the 1st, and then, of course, that ground ball out to the shortstop Boardman in the 7th. On deck, it's Don Jordan, one of the 3 Blues to not record a base hit today. Royal with his hands on his knees at first. Miller inching off the bag at second. 1-0 is in there for a strike. Fastball hitting the outside corner, and Albee pinpointed it. Henderson sure knows how to get on base if you just look at his seasons at Cedarville University. It's set up the Blues nicely for Don Jordan, who's got the juice to cash in some runs. Henderson tardy on a fastball here, sending it straight back for strike 2. Henderson, a .500 on-base percentage with the Yellow Jackets last year. A career .490 on-base percentage in his 2 years of college baseball. He's played in 100 games. 1-2. Henderson leaves that bouncing ball on top of home plate. Evens it up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 outs with runners on first and second. Blues up 4-3 over the Sonoma Stompers. Looking for some extra breathing room heading to the bottom half of the 9th inning at Arnold Field in Sonoma, California. Chris Albee on the mound. He comes set on the 2-2. Strides and shoots. And he hits it right to the shortstop and over the glove of Boardman into left field for a base hit. Miller stumbles on the bag at third. They try to backpick him there. The throw is not in time. Stompers are furious that the call didn't go their way. Henderson smoked that ground ball to Boardman, who looked like he took a fall trying to charge it. It skipped over the glove. That'll go down as the 10th hit of the day for San Luis Obispo. And it will load the bases for Don Jordan as the entire umpire crew will talk over the call at third base. Regalado with an aggressive wave to Brody Miller had him standing at home, but he tripped on the bag at third base, and the call gets overturned. Dean Traynor doesn't like it one bit. He's going to have a chat with all 3 umpires as well. The Stompers retreat to the dugout with a chance to walk it off. Dean Traynor is furious. Don Jordan just wants an opportunity to bring some extra runs for his team. He's still standing out there, helmet, batting gloves, and all. Jane Turner is back on the mound for the Blues in what is still a 4-3 ball game. And to me, it looked like the throw beat Miller back at third base, but it didn't look like the tag did from our perspective. So the call remains, and the side is retired. Blues up by 1 over Sonoma. Jaden Turner trying to close it out here from Arnold Field. Right after this on the Slow Blues Streaming Network. It's never too late to purchase firework tickets for our signature game on July 3rd. Celebrate the Stars and Stripes and watch the Blues play under the lights at our biggest game of the summer. Save your seat now and secure those tickets at bluesbaseball.com. Jaden Turner out there to close this game out for San Luis Obispo. Blues trying to get their first win of CCL play this summer. First pitch or second offering to Charlie Malton is in there for a strike. Jaden Turner working quickly to the 5-hole hitter Malton, who's 0 for 3 this afternoon for the Stompers. From the windup, the 1-1. Fastball is a 50-footer off the chest of Brody Miller for ball 2. The Blues were threatening on the base paths in the last frame, and Eli Henderson singled. That was going to fill the bases or score a run, and Brody Miller tripped up on third, and they picked back to third, and they got him for the third out of the inning. Malton fouled this one up and out of play for strike 2. Turner trying to record his second strikeout of the night and bring the Blues their first CCL victory this summer. 2-2. Breaking pitch to the left side. Nice play. Constantine, who spins and throws it over to first in time. Gavin Constantine, a spectacular play from the hot corner. One gone in the 9th inning.
Now batting for your Sonoma Stompers, number 3.
That's some serious range right there from Gavin Constantine. Great reaction time. Called off the shortstop Murillo. A nice stretch by Tollerman. Ground ball to Murillo now. Gobbles it up on the bad hop and throws it over to ZT for the second out of the inning. Blues knocking on the door on their first CCL win of the summer.
Now batting for your Sonoma Stompers, number 37.
It's Brady Shannon.
Brady Shannon.
In his debut night that has fallen flat in the eyes of the Stompers. 0 for 3, a double play and 2 strikeouts after a video game campaign with the Penguins at Youngstown State. Watches the first pitch down the middle of the plate for strike 1. That Jaden Turner fastball catches on you quickly. Very heavy four-seamer, difficult to time up. Here's the 0-1. Another fastball, and Shannon chases it up in the zone, 0-2. Blues 1 strike away from getting their first W in league play. Shannon with 2 strikeouts today already on the 0-2 from Turner. The pitch. Fastball just missing upstairs. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Looked like it was perfectly dotted from Turner. And Shannon didn't offer either. On the 1-2, here's the pitch. Breaking ball. They appeal to first, and Shannon didn't go around. Man, Turner is not missing by much on these pitches. The Blues dugout anxiously awaits on the 2-2 offering from Jaden Turner. With 2 outs, the pitch. Fastball missing high. It fills it up at 3 balls and 2 strikes. These are not bad pitches from Jaden Turner. Not missing by much. Blues a pitch away from their first conference win. Here's the payoff. Fastball swung on and missed. Blew the doors off Brady Shannon, and the Blues collect their first conference W of the summer. 4-3 victory over the Sonoma Stompers at Arnold Field. And what a way to get a win here. Final pitch is at 8:28 p.m. Another quick one here in North Bay area. Welcome back into the broadcast booth for the Ancient Owl postgame show. A lot better bus ride vibes today for San Luis Obispo, as they are now 1-1 on the summer, getting that win against the Sonoma Stompers. After a night where they collected 16 strikeouts, the Blues only struck out 6 times tonight. 10 less times than last night, and it showed. Thanks in part 2 of the power from Zach Tollerman, smashing the second home run of the summer for San Luis Obispo, depositing it into the left field bleachers. That was a frozen rope. It wasn't a moonshot, wasn't a long, high home run, just an absolute scud missile into the bleachers. That was fun to watch. Also, Mason Ashlock came through once again with a 2 RBI single in the 3rd inning and an RBI ground out from Gavin Smith, and another great outing from the Blues pitching staff as well. They look great. Scott Bauman started this game for San Luis Obispo, and unfortunately he went down after his elbow popped in the 2nd inning, so we hope he's okay. That was a really, really scary sight. He was today's starter for the Blues and is looking for a new college to pitch at after his old university, SF State, dropped their baseball program, and that was not a good sign if you're Scott Bauman. The way he was grimacing and holding his arm did not look good, so we wish him the best. But Hawk Hill made his Sonoma Stompers homecoming, and he looked excellent too. 4 1/3 innings of work, 3 hits, 1 run it was earned, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts. And then after that, Cade O'Hara matched his career high in innings pitched with 4 hits, 1 earned run. It was a home run, no walks, and no strikeouts. And then Jaden Turner. My goodness, does Turner have some disgusting stuff for San Luis Obispo. He slams the door on the Sonoma Stompers to bring the Blues their first conference victory of the summer. Much needed after a disastrous loss last night. The way they kicked around the baseball with the 3 errors and the way that they kept striking out. So it was a good bounce-back game for the Blues. They stuck to their plan that they had instilled before Game 1. They used it in Game 2, and it shows a victory 4-3 on the scoreboard for San Luis Obispo. Happy bus ride back tonight. They'll get back a little late, but it won't matter because they got a good feeling in their gut after beating the Stompers 4-3. San Luis Obispo has a day off tomorrow, Thursday, but they return Friday to play against the Menlo Park Legends at Sinsheimer Stadium. Other games on Friday that are happening too. The Crawdads are at the Alameda Merchants at 4 p.m. The Legends are in San Luis Obispo at 6. And for the CCL South, the Bombers are at the Barons at 6:05. The Waves are at the Saints at 6:05 as well. Philippines at the Conejo Oaks at 4. And the Foresters at the Riptide at 7 p.m. But the one that matters for us on the Slow Blues Streaming Network, Blues and Legends, Friday night at 6. I'll be there with Ryan Giacomini on the Slow Blues Streaming Network. Thanks again for watching tonight's broadcast.